Hello and welcome to another podcast and episode of the Peninsula Biz Buzz. My name is Shelley Smith. I'm one of your co-hosts today, but let's get to the man of the hour, the president of the chamber. Bob, over to you.
Hey everybody, Bob McKenna here, President and CEO of the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce. And all of you regular viewers, and Shelley, I hope we have regular viewers, will notice that I no longer have my COVID facial hair. And that's because we have on with us today a retired lieutenant general. So I just didn't think it would do to look shaggy. So I shaved it off. So we have with us from the Wounded Warrior Project, Lieutenant General retired Mike Linnington. And Mike has had a variety of command and staff positions in a 35-year career, including brigade command of the 3rd Brigade of the 101st Airborne Division in Afghanistan and Iraq. He is, and I'd like to say, of course, here, he is, of course, a West Point grad. He is airborne, air assault, and Ranger qualified, and obviously heavily decorated. And now he is the CEO of the Wounded Warrior Project. So, Mike, I'd like to go over to you right now and just say, tell us how you got where you are now a little bit. And then if you could talk a little bit about the history of the Wounded Warrior Project and the current mission.
Bob, thanks. And thanks for having me on. I couldn't be more pleased, obviously, to be on Biz Buzz and actually heading to Virginia for an event that's being hosted right down there in your neck of the woods tomorrow. And as CEO of Wounded Warrior Project, one of the most important things we do is engage with warriors, wounded, ill, and injured service members and their families, and get them back into events where they can enjoy each other's camaraderie and really start their healing process. And that's what tomorrow's all about. I joined Wounded Warrior Project 4 years ago. In fact, it's 4 years ago this month, actually. I had retired in 15 out of the Pentagon. I went to work briefly for the government, and I really missed service. I missed military service. Many of my troops had been in combat, had been wounded, were in the midst of some part of their recovery. Wounded Warrior Project reached out to me and asked if I was interested in competing for their CEO job. I threw my name in the hat, didn't expect to get selected, actually. I did, and I will tell you, other than commanding troops in combat, this is my most important mission and my most important job. And I will really tell you what we do for tens of thousands of wounded, ill, and injured service members to help them recover mind, body, and soul is really important for our nation. As you know, and as your listeners know, less than 1% of Americans serve in uniform. For those that do serve and get wounded in combat, when they do come home, we owe them our best efforts. And that's really what I'm doing at Wounded Warrior Project, is trying to give our nation's heroes our best efforts in their recovery and rehabilitation.
Okay, can you talk a little bit about the history of the Wounded Warrior Project, when it started and how long it's been going on, how the mission has changed over the years, if at all?
And it's changed a lot, Bob, thanks. I mean, it really started in 2003. A group of patriotic citizens, many of them veterans, right in Virginia, in Roanoke, Virginia, were delivering comfort items in a backpack bedside to wounded service members as they were transitioning through the hospitals, both at Linnington Regional Medical Center and at Walter Reed. And the mission grew from there to adaptive sports, adaptive cycling. It moved to Jacksonville, where we stood up a full-time headquarters. We're now in 25 locations across the country, 15 brick and mortar locations, more than 725 full-time employees and hundreds of volunteers that really serve warriors in a variety of areas, mostly in engagement events that help get them back connected with their peers, with their brothers and sisters in arms, and events that help them realize they're not alone in their recovery. And then we provide a variety of mental health, physical health, and healing and financial wellness programs at no charge to them or their families that help them heal physically, heal mentally, especially from the invisible wounds of war, post-traumatic stress disorder, and traumatic brain injury, and ultimately get the benefits they've earned and get jobs. We know all of these warriors have tremendous leadership abilities. We just got to get them healed. And once they are healed, they normally find really meaningful jobs and perform magnificently in those jobs. We just got to give them a hand up, not a handout, a hand up in reaching out to organizations that want to employ wounded or disabled veterans, and they really knock the socks off of it once they are given that opportunity. So that's really our goal. And we couldn't do it without the support of generous Americans everywhere, generous citizens like, Kevin, Felix, and you and others that are hosting us on the peninsula this weekend. And I couldn't be more grateful for that opportunity.
Okay, so thanks, sir. And I see the highway behind you. I know it's 95 and you're at a rest stop in South Carolina somewhere. So we really appreciate you making the effort to be with us today and to be with Kevin tomorrow. So on that note, over to Kevin real quick. So Colonel Kevin Felix, retired U.S. Army, and a close personal friend of mine who is also serves on the Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce Military Affairs Council and a number of other boards in the Hampton Roads area. Kevin has done 2 or 3 events now. This may be the 3rd event coming up for the Wounded Warrior Project. And when Kevin grabs a hold of something important, he does it, and he does it very well, and he doesn't let go. So Kevin, tell us about the upcoming event that Mike is driving up for.
Sure, Bob. Thanks for the opportunity. So General Linnington's driving up for a very important event. It's a Cobia fishing tournament event that will be hosted tomorrow in Yorktown by a very kind and generous family, the North family. And I'll talk a little bit about that later. But tomorrow, what's key about tomorrow is that it will be one of the first face-to-face events that the Wounded Warriors would be having here on the peninsula. The Warriors can only do so much virtual yoga classes, and they just needed to get back out with their comrades and do some more live things. Now, in order to get there, work closely with Brian Marley, the local rep, to do a lot of the mitigation for COVID-19, wiping down things on the boat, wearing masks, social distancing, everything important and within the governor's guidelines. We're actually staying within the phase 2 guidelines of under 50 people. So there'll be 10 boats, 18 to 20 warriors, 2 per boat, going out to do some cobia fishing and coming back and having a barbecue meal in the afternoon. And one of my friend's neighbors is going to play some music for him, another retired Air Force colonel, Matt Foley. So it's a lot of community support here. Got started with this with the Wounded Warriors, just kind of helping and connecting the dots back in January when I organized a duck hunt. A year prior to that, I went to General Linnington. I saw him up at AUSA and said, "Hey, sir," we had served together in the 101st years back. I said, "Hey, I'm building this duck blind. I'd like to build it to support the Warriors, easy access, and I'd like to host a big event for them." And so a year later, we put that together. We did it in January. It went very well. And then we thought, what else could we do? And so this idea of a fishing tournament came up. And this is central to one of the young men that's going to be part of this, a young man named Colton North and his family, who will be hosting it at their home tomorrow all day. I think there's a big tent going up in their backyard right now. So we're getting ready to do a great event for the Warriors, and they've been really supportive. So this young man just told me today that he just got his captain's fishing license, which allows him to run fishing charters. And so the little buzz for him and the biz buzz here would be it's called litigatorsportfishing.com. It is now active, essentially as of yesterday, getting the license, and he's ready to go. He's also a graduate of York High School, and he will be going off to, I believe, JMU in the fall, but his real passion is fishing. He, in fact, was part of the duck hunt as well, so there's the connection. So very, very leader-driven, very mature young man that is going to be part of this. He, within about 20 minutes, had 9 or 10 fishing boats ready to go. He had all his buddies ready to support this. So I think this is a future Virginia Peninsula Chamber of Commerce leader, and with his new enterprise. And so it links back into the whole, essence of what we're trying to do is, connect businesses with folks that are trying to support the veterans and to do great events that, as General Linnington said, kind of are the first steps in the healing process for some of these wounded warriors. So tomorrow we will launch from his backyard dock area at about 8 o'clock, go out, fish for a couple hours, come back, have some good barbecue, and enjoy the fellowship and camaraderie that comes with these kinds of events.
That's outstanding. It's a great story of a community coming together. We'll have to create a board position, maybe the sport fishing committee or something like that for this young man, and get him on the board sooner rather than later. So Shelley, over to you.
I've got a question for you, Mike, and for you, Kevin. Kevin, I want to start with you. First of all, I love that entrepreneurial spirit that he has. That's just amazing and exciting, especially in our youth. What is the best way that anybody listening here locally in the 757 that could help from a company, opportunities, open positions to connect to and support, either hire and or to support for fundraising? Direct us to a phone number or a website or something to find information.
You're talking about the Wounded Warrior Project,
yes.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes.
So there are local reps, and Mike obviously would be I think it's woundedwarriorproject.com.
.org.
Sorry, and you can connect there as soon as you go onto the website. As I recall, there's an opportunity to donate right there on the front page. So that's one way for sure, and then to participate and to get the word out to veterans that maybe just are not familiar with the program or need to learn more about it or how to get involved. But there's plenty of opportunity to support these folks, whether it's financial or just doing activities, etc. So those are other ways.
Beautiful. And then Mike, I'm curious. Since you've been CEO, what is the biggest maybe aha moment that you've had by running the foundation? Maybe surprise, or maybe just your biggest gratification? I'm always interested in that.
For me, it's events like this, Shelley, really, where you bring groups of veterans together that probably have never met each other before in communities, and just to see them open up to each other. See, as Kevin mentioned, the bonds of friendship and camaraderie that are instantly formed very quickly. As our military service members of all branches over the past 240 years know, a lot happens in combat. Whatever service you're in, whatever branch of the military you're in, a lot of the memories of that service is not pleasant. And a lot of veterans keep those memories private. But when they get together in groups like we'll see tomorrow, those shields come down and the healing really starts. I can tell you by the end of tomorrow, this group will be a cohort of supporters that will be there for each other all the time. And that's my biggest aha moment, is when you bring veterans together with the support of a community, like we're seeing certainly, across the peninsula for this event, great things happen. Sadly, 20 veterans a day take their lives. Only 6 of those veterans are getting care from the VA for whatever reason. But it really isn't just the VA's responsibility. It's all of our responsibilities to help our veterans transition, whether it's nonprofit organizations, faith-based groups, or just neighbors helping neighbors. Reaching out to veterans and keeping them engaged and involved and active in the community is really important. And that's why, if any veterans are listening today that do need help getting connected with resources, as Kevin mentioned, go to our website at woundedwarriorproject.org, learn how to get involved, learn how to reach out to us, register as an alumni, take advantage of the free programs and services we offer. And for other businesses that want to support warriors in their rehabilitation or jobs or other opportunities, there's ways to get connected on our website with those resources as well. And for a veteran that just wants to talk to somebody, you can go to our resource center. It's open, I think, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. every day except the weekends. And that number is 1-888-WWP-ALUM, A-L-U-M, 1-888-WWP-ALUM. And one of our resource center counselors will get on the phone and talk you through and connect you with resources. not just from Wounded Warrior Project, but from 1,500 other organizations across the country that's there to help you in your need. So biggest thing is just getting involved, and that really is why I'm so grateful for what the Peninsula is doing for us tomorrow.
Beautiful. Any last comments or anything that we didn't ask either one of you today that you want to tell us before we before Bob does a final wrap on the comments?
I'll just say my final comment is just a thank you. I mean, Kevin Felix has poured his heart and soul into this, as has the North family. I'm looking forward to meeting young Colt. He's a young captain now, which is kind of neat. I've watched his videos, and I just can't wait to meet him and his family. And Kevin, for you, thanks for the events you've run for us in the past, especially the Great Duck Hunt. And we're looking forward to many more opportunities in Virginia with our team and getting them engaged. So thanks to the Chamber of Commerce, thanks to the community, and thanks in particular to the North family and Kevin Felix, Colonel Felix, for this great opportunity for our wounded veterans.
My final comment would be that Bob has left the Duck Dynasty world by losing that whatever was growing, and has lost about 10 years as well. So good, Bob.
Hey,
I think that was
Bob.
a backhanded comment somehow.
well, that's the only kind I get from Kevin, actually, but that's because we're good friends. But actually, it was a pretty good beard. You have to admit. I mean, it was pretty nice and thick. And I went in and shaved it, and I came out, and my wife, who had been asking me to trim it up and clean it up, said, "Why did you shave it off?" So come November, I will be growing it back, maybe
Time
for a
to grow
short.
it back. That's right.
For the next duck hunt we have.
Well, and then I want to go on the next duck hunt.
All right.
Hopefully without a mask and without social distancing. So Lieutenant General Linnington, Mike, thanks very much for taking time out from your trip. I know that trip is grinding and grueling, and you'd never want to pull off the road for 20 minutes because you want to make time. So we appreciate you taking time to be with us today. Kevin, thanks for raising the level of awareness of this important event tomorrow and this important project, the Wounded Warrior Project. So I'm happy to be with you today. Have a safe trip, and we'll talk to you again maybe before the next one. So
Thanks
Thank
for
you,
having me
everybody.
on,
Stay
Bob,
safe.
very much.
Thanks, Bob.
Thank you.